Content contains adult language and humor that is not suitable for viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you.
I'll talk about getting right into it. Wow, my ears.
Gotta keep you awake, Baron.
Me? How about
you,
that?
Baron? No, you.
Oh. Milligan.
Thank you.
Good evening and welcome, one and all, to your Wednesday night edition of Pacific414 Pop Talk, along with Cashmoney007, Baron Orman Tagge. I am your host, Mike, and for tonight, we are going to have the first 2 hours on X, YouTube, and Rumble before having an exclusive third hour over on Rumble only. At that time, I will make sure to post the link to the Rumble channel so all of you can continue with us if you would like.
What if I
But
don't?
first, well, that's up to you, Baron.
Okay.
Again, like I said, if you would like.
Well,
Baron's
Rumble's a scary land over there. They have free speech, and I can't go with that, man.
yeah.
I can't. I want to be told what to think.
He brought his blocks to the playground, and then they didn't like his blocks, so he left.
No.
Oh boy. It's gonna be that kind of night, huh, Baron?
Is it always?
Oh boy. Well, I will tell you all what stories we will try to cover while we're on all 3 platforms. One of them comes from Bounty in the Comics, and it says Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scavenger, near universally rejected by critics. It isn't good, but it sure is something. The other article we will talk about while we're on all 3 platforms is from Niche Gamer, and it says Stellar Blade will be uncensored for all regions.
Buddies.
Good job, Niche Gamer. Very good.
Yeah.
Yes. And if we have time to talk about these next 2 articles, we will talk about one of them at least. It'll either be this article from comicbook.com where Robert Kirkman says the Walking Dead animated series can't happen until I get the rights back from AMC.
Makes sense.
Or the other article we could end up talking about, if we have time, is from Superhero Hype, and it's a article saying Thundercats Chitara racing into solo series with Soli. And then if you're curious to know what we're going to be talking about when we're on Rumble for the third hour, we are going to be talking about the TikTok ban, and we're going to give our thoughts on what it may entail. Is this the first domino effect of other apps essentially being banned as well? Little teaser there, folks.
Ooh, he's a tease. He's a tease.
But first, before we get into tonight's articles, we do have our latest edition of Beverly Hills 414,
Yeah.
which we are getting into right now.
The land of stars and dreams, Beverly Hills 414.
Mm.
Tale of friendship, love,
And Cash and Baron, be ready to jump in at any time.
Oh.
Previously on Beverly Hills 414. Mike was patient and finally found his chance and opportunity. The bus was due, and a large group of shoppers were rushing out the doors, overwhelming the Girl Scouts with sheer numbers. He took his cart, squeaky wheel and all, and went into the depths of the grocery store. Half the battle was getting in, the remainder would be getting back out. Instead of making a direct beeline to the meat department and hoping they hadn't sold out on anything worthwhile, which would be just his luck, he detoured to the CNC aisle. Let me just turn that down real quick.
Oh, okay, you beat me to it. Let's just go to it. Okay.
And cookies and crackers. None of the cookies here were nearly as tempting as the ones the Girl Scouts had, but he had an idea they might make for a viable shield against them. Sure about that?
Uh-huh.
2 packs of Oreos, double stuff, of course, and a bag of Milano Dark chocolate mint cookies in his basket.
Ooh.
Now that is actually a truth right there. I will go for double stuffed Oreos or the mint Milanos.
Mm-hmm. I never had those, but I have had the Milanos, but never had the mint ones. Those sound good.
Oh, they are good. They are. And they would have to do. What? The mint Milanos are better than the Girl Scout cookies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Milanos in general are better, but
Yeah.
Mint. Woo.
It wasn't his best plan. Are you kidding? That is a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
But Mike was always best in a pinch. Baron had the ex-wife chugging along the roads at a little over the speed of smell. He thought about telling Anime Jace to not smoke in the loader, but fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
So what wild adventure are you dragging me into this time? Baron asked, still a little sullen over his lack of breakfast bacon. It's not something with those moon priestesses again, is it?
Mm.
Anime J smirked and laughed. What, Baron? You don't trust me? Baron growled.
No.
The last time I was thinking Sailor Moon, instead it was Legend of the Overfiend.
Mm.
You don't effing like hentai, Baron. Baron huffed. Not when she is the one putting me in the position of being the schoolgirl. Anime J flicked his smoke out the window and took out another.
I can actually see that.
I tried to warn you that your genitals weren't compatible. You said something about how that never stopped Captain Kirk. Jace said, obviously trying not to laugh. No, I promise you, Baron. This doesn't involve them or their flailing.
No.
I'm not saying. I am not saying it.
Canute?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Great king. He was a great king.
This time, Baron rolled his eyes. Great, I promise I can certainly trust. Crypto was on his way out of the flea market, feeling dejected and quite annoyed. He had spent all that time and effort in this endeavor to try to win, only to not even compete. The girl at the main building had been nice. Well, she had kept talking to him. Obviously, she knew a strong chin when she saw one, but it had gotten a little creepy after, excuse me, the first 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he thought she was going to stalk him in the bushes outside his window and watch him shave or anything. He didn't shave anyway.
He'd like that though.
Gave, he gave that up for his chin. She was just odd. He also was a little on edge, waiting for whatever other shoe or trap that was set by this whole endeavor to fall or try to ensnare him. Maybe he had been right that Phil wasn't clever enough for this. You underestimate Phil McCracken.
Mm-hmm. He might not be clever, but he's tenacious.
He was so wound up that he got to his car and had finished checking the back seat, the front seat, the trunk, wheel wells, tires, and everything. His phone ring made him jump. Yes, probably Cash. Where are you, Cash, buddy? Where's my myth force? Yeah, what? He asked as he answered the phone. Crypto coin, beware your doom. That high-pitched, nasally voice of Phil squealed. I'm calling you out to come face me. Where's my myth force? Not now, Phil, Crypto said and hung up on him, starting up the car and driving away, mentally adding up the additional cost of gas to this trip, which he wasn't getting back. His phone rang again. Blocked number. Had to be Phil again. He still wasn't in the mood, so he ignored it. And the next call. And one after that. And once more the phone rang. To be ignored. Yeah, it's probably a robocall. Get them all the time.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Just all AI friends.
Mm-hmm. Will Mike's clever plan to use the other cookies as a shield against the Girl Scout cookie ninjas succeed? Or is he doomed to shell out more money for their array of sweet, sweet goods? Nah. I'm good. I'm good. I've got my double stuffed Oreos. I got my mint Milano cookies. I'm good. What does Anime Jays have in store for Baron? And will it involve duct taping live squid to their bodies like the last time?
What?
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I don't either. What the hell?
Yeah. Okay, that came out of nowhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Why is Crypto ignoring Phil's call after spending all this time waiting for the man to unleash the trap? And is Phil just going to leave a voicemail? I'm watching you, Cash Money. I know where you are, Cash Money. All this and more as these messages.
He just starts calling me, going, "Let that bum know."
That's so funny.
Hello to Leia Rose. Good to see you.
Hello, Leia.
All right, so let's go ahead
I'm just thinking like Mike is like fighting off these Girl Scouts. Come on, here's the cookies. No, I can't do it. I've got my cookies already. Leave me alone. And they just start chasing him around.
Cookies.
Come on, you want the cookies?
I got my cookies. I'm happy. I'm happy with my double stuffed Oreos and my mint Milano cookies. Thank you very much.
I delete my cookies.
Not those cookies, Baron.
Okay. C is for cookie. That's never right.
Sometimes I wonder if you're right in the head.
You know what? Sometimes I wonder if I am too. Really.
Shit.
Wow.
Well, by that response, I think Cash wonders that about the both of us.
Yeah. Like he's to talk.
All right, so
I'm behaving myself.
There has been a lot of talk about Rebel Moon. There are people that are saying it sucks. It makes no sense.
Yep.
And there's no way it's going to be the next Star Wars. Now, Cash and I watched it with Jason Fox from 540 Studios, and we have our own opinion about it. Jace loved it. Jace loved it. He said it's the movie of the year for him. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I gave part 1 a 7.5 out of 10. I gave part 2 a 6 out of 10 because it took too long to finally get going. And I know it's a Zack Snyder movie, and I know you're going to get slow motion from Zack Snyder, but there were instances in the movie where he really shouldn't have used slow motion because it took away from what was going on in the scene.
Yep. It's, for me, part 1 is a 7 out of 10, and then part 2 is a 6 out of 10. I feel the same way as Mike because this movie took a while to get going. Then when we finally got to the action, that was fine, but then there was still too much slow motion at certain parts there didn't need to be. I was impressed, though. A man actually hit a woman. I was impressed by that. They did show that.
Well, you like that stuff, though. It's like,
no, Baron.
Massage money.
Yeah, right. But it was just not as good as part 1. The slow motion just too much.
It takes you out of it.
For me, it's too
really
much.
Does.
Just way too much.
Yeah. Well, it's so overused. Now, I haven't seen part 2, and I gave part 1, I believe, an 8 out of 10 because I thought it was pretty good. You know,
it's better than pretty good, man. 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, I like the storytelling. But like you said, even in that one, it's like, do we really need all this slow mo? You know,
that's what takes me out of this. Any of these, it's not just if Zack Snyder is doing it. It's any of these films, anything. There's just too much slow motion. It's not necessary.
Yeah, if it's something that's really poignant to the scene or whatever. But again, it's like CGI and other special effects. Sometimes as little use as possible is the most effective, and if you have it for the correct scene to drive that point home, you cannot rely on it for everything to be supposed to be grabbing you or say it's important. Then it's like, well, then the whole thing is important, and then it takes away the fact that nothing's important. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, it does. And I'll even say there is some nice scenes. But the slow motion also makes some of the scenes not as impactful, and that's a problem too, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, I'm not against slow motion, but they've gone way too crazy. You know, the school of the Matrix. You know,
exactly.
No, they see the Matrix, and now it's the flavor of the decade. Just like lens flares with Jar Jar Abrams.
Right. It was too much. And if you didn't pay that close enough attention to it, you may not it may not bother you, but when you really start paying attention to it, you're like, oh, there's too much.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Actually, I want to see, I guess I kind of want to see the extendeds and see how that flows. Is there something that we're missing that we didn't get per se? You know, a point-driven home. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't want to really spoil anything. So
it's like I told you, Baron, when I messaged you. Watch it for yourself. Judge it for yourself.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. It's like I know two spectrums of people that we know of for it, so those cancel each other out, and the middle grounds like you and Cash have start. Okay, I can see where it is. Now it's time for me to, without you guys actually sitting back and spoiling anything. I don't want to be spoiled, but
no, I don't want to spoil it.
No,
I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't watched it, whether they're watching it because they want to see a train wreck or they're watching it because they enjoyed the first one.
Right. And don't listen to anybody, even on YouTube, who says this is torture. I just don't find that to be torture. Maybe they feel that way because there's too much slow motion, but I just still don't feel that way. I think that's crazy for people.
I didn't think it was torture. Again, I thought it took too long to
Yes.
get where it needed to go.
Mhm. Well, in this age of viewership, people watching it, taking too long or being slow is a torture. I mean, remember that
Yeah,
little
that's a fair
piece that
point. That's a fair
I
point.
read about how Blade Runner doesn't hold up, and the big complaint is it's slow. It's not an action film. It's like it was slow even by their standard, but today's standards is horrible. It's like whoa,
Mhm.
whoa, whoa. I mean, you idiots! You obviously don't get or understand. If it's a film that you have to watch, not have your nose in TikTok. Yes, yeah, did all
You
tie in
can't
there
you
for the
can't
last hour.
you can't have your nose out of joint when you're watching Blade Runner.
No, but more importantly, you can't have it buried in some device. You have to watch it. It's a film that you have to watch, not do it passively as you're seeing what new exciting things are on TikTok or like Cash
Right.
arguing on Twitter.
No, don't do that. That's not a good
No.
idea.
Yeah,
It doesn't really go anywhere. Too many people do it.
And that's the sad thing. We sacrifice storytelling to a crowd that has the attention span of a gnat.
That is unfortunate with a lot of entertainment nowadays, even in games.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, with this article being posted just yesterday, I'm sorry, on Monday. My bad. My bad.
Oh my word. We lost credibility just with that statement. Thanks, Mike.
The, hey, I make mistakes, but I'm the type of person that will admit when he makes a mistake.
Well, it's good to do that.
Yeah. He'll blame us later on.
This is by Josh Berger. Why would I blame you guys? It's me.
It's fun. Ooh, Josh Burger? Burgers.
It says Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, has been released on Netflix, and the critic reviews for Zack Snyder's most recent cinematic endeavor have managed to be even more disappointing than the ones the previous installment received in December of last year. Initially conceived as the pitch for a Star Wars film, Snyder's Rebel Moon heavily borrows concepts from George Lucas' highly successful space opera. Execution wise, however, the films appear to take a few pages from Disney's pathetic, uninspired attempts at milking the franchise.
Ow.
While Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, did get a theatrical release in some theaters in the United States on April 12th, the film was made available on Netflix this past Friday, received with overwhelmingly negative reviews across the board. On review aggregator site Metacritic, the movie was met with a disappointing Metascore of 36 out of 100 based on 23 critic reviews, with 4% positive, 1 review, 78% mixed, 18 reviews, and 17% negative, 4 reviews. With many pointing out that this movie is even worse than the first entry in Snyder's new series, Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire.
There.
The film isn't faring any better on Rotten Tomatoes, where Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, was met with a disappointing 16% tomato score based on 77 reviews, and a slightly less disappointing 53% audience score that took into account over 1,000 user reviews.
Mm-hmm.
The only positive review on Metacritic comes from the AV Club's Jared Jones, who prefaced the director's vision of an adult oriented space opera is compromised by a PG-13 cut and an emphasis on far too familiar influences, giving a B- to the film.
B- isn't bad.
No. It's not.
No. The Scargiver is an unmistakable blend of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai and George Lucas's Star Wars. So obvious in its make that pointing out the origin of its parts is redundant. Jones noted, later adding, if nothing else, the Scargiver has a clearer direction than its prior installment, which allows us to spend more downtime with the overlarge group of archetypes. Awarding the film 3 stars out of 5, The Guardian's Jesse Hassinger prefaces the divisive director's sci-fi follow-up is both original and derivative and will be unlikely to convert anyone, but there's something charming about its sincerity. Rebel Moon almost certainly didn't need to be 2 multiple cut movies. It probably could have gotten by as Zero Hassinger asserts, but as a playground for Snyder's favorite bits of speed ramping, shallow focusing, and pulp thievery, it's harmless, sometimes pleasingly weird fun. The New York Times' Amy Nicholson gives the movie a 5 out of 10, writing, a Zack Snyder picture is like everything and nothing else in the galaxy. Nothing. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, the second half of of the director's hammering saga about a Bukulik village at the fringes of the universe, forced to fight off its imperial overlords, pulls from as many influences as there are stars in the sky. Well, what TV show, book, movie hasn't
Right.
borrowed from a successful source material?
That's why I've been keeping my mouth shut until the end of this because I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Back to you, Mike.
Nicholson then notes a delirious, pulpy mishmash of knockoffs. The Scargiver isn't good, but it sure is something. Later adding, Snyder's ostentatiousness is unmatched. His refusal to dial down any of his impulses, dramatic smooches backlit by a pink rain planet, priestly hats that resemble glowing pepperonis, a 4-legged tank which totters like a hungover armadillo,
Ooh, I want
has
one.
an admirable resolve, even if it comes from an inability to say no to himself. Well, that was the problem with George Lucas when it came to the prequels. There was nobody
Mm-hmm.
there to wrangle him in and
Right.
say,
Nope.
George.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Variety's Owen Geiberman also gives the movie a 5 out of 10, prefacing the second chapter of Zack Snyder's intergalactic epic is everything. It's every bit as derivative as part 1, but the climactic showdown sizzles. Geibelman would point out that, much like the first installment, Rebel Moon, Part 2, The Scargivers, is a sci fi action fantasy so familiar and generic, so borrowed from and inspired by other things. It's the 1977 Star Wars meets Seven Samurais meets the Lord of the Guardians of the Reigns of the Galaxy, and it's already the theme park version of itself. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, is a storytelling mediocrity, but as a spectacle, it has a turn and rhythm. It gives nothing away to say that in the end, the forces of good triumph, he ultimately concludes. The Telegraph's Robbie Colin gives the film 2 out of 5 stars, prefacing this follow up to last December's first installment. Looks good, but the space opera never makes you care who wins or loses. Later adding that nothing here or in the previous installment will make you give the slightest fig who wins. Yes, the world of Rebel Moon is richly imagined, even if its origin as an aborted Star Wars project still remain far too obvious, he explained. In place of storytelling, though, it's built on unwieldy lore dumps. We're given hundreds of details about this galaxy far, far away, but no reason to care about any of them. Okay, so we got more critic reviews. I'm not going to read all these critic reviews,
Okay,
but
good. Yeah.
I think I think we get the gist. You know,
Yes.
so, some found the movie mid, some found the movie absolutely terrible,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
with
Well-
very few actually saying you should watch this.
Well, I think a lot of them. Okay, first of all, I don't trust a lot of these sources, anyways.
No.
Sometimes the more negative some of these sites, including Rotten Tomatoes, gives, only emboldens me to want to see this. Now, again, I'm prefacing again. I have not seen it, so I'm not. My response here is not off of the movie, but they're reviewing. Their word salad ignorant reviewing. If they're sitting back going about, stealing from Star Wars and Kurosawa's The Seven Samurai, you know what? You just lost credibility there, because that was one of the things that George Lucas used.
Mm-hmm.
You just made a redundant statement trying to sound intellectual. And yes, Star Wars is a mishmash of many genres out there. Is no different than that. So if you're using that as an attack, but you're going to use it to praise Star Wars, you have failed miserably. Absolutely miserably. Some of this reviews is almost like copy and paste
Yes.
hate fest against Zack Schneider.
Yes.
Now, again, I'm not a simp for Schneider. I'm not a hater of Schneider. I could care less about Schneider, to be honest with you. And like I said, I rather enjoyed the first part. And yeah, I understand trying to complete something like this with a large story. And when I see it, I'll let people know what I do think of it. The reviews that they have in there just reek of ignorance. No, you're ignorant. You're ignorant. These reviews, especially if anybody understands lore building, understands how story building is done, especially modern day storytelling, you don't know. You're talking out of your asses, all of you, or every one of those.
Well, we know what Bounty the Comics likes to do. This is just another situation, guys, where they want to prove to you that, if you like this, basically saying something's wrong with you. That's how I look at this article. Look at all these bad reviews from all these so-called critics. Right. How can you guys like this stuff? How can you even feel it's decent? Like, people are in the middle, but why put down so many reviews? Because you're trying to prove that this thing is not very good, and what are you guys doing to feel like you like this? Like, how can you like this or even think it's decent? Like, that's how I look. Why put down so many of these reviews in the article of these paraphrasing different quotes? Yeah.
Right. Well, the one thing is so many of these give it like Mike is giving half, and you give it 5 out of 10 or whatever, which means it's an average score.
Yeah.
It's like it's not bad, it's not great. You can sit down and watch it, just like a lot of stuff we had in the 80s, if you really take a look at it.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, obviously no one's so trying to take a middle average review and saying about how horrible this is, again, disingenuous. Two, when you're reading off, it's like, I'm glad Mike stopped where he was at with all this review stuff, because again, it's like you all went out there and copy and pasted each other. Copy and paste, which gets me suspicious. It really gets me suspicious. Did many of these people actually watch this? But are they just writing a review off of what other people have?
they could be going off just one review and
Mhm.
copying and pasting it and changing a little
Mhm.
wording here and there, and
Yeah.
just to make it
What-
sound like it came
Well,
from.
it's just
without
like
even seeing it.
right, but it's just like the other situations all the time with this. It's like, oh, we're for you gamers, and then they're back in another article bashing the gamers again.
Mhm.
So
Right.
it's all Looney Tunes stuff.
Right.
It's like, do you guys really believe this about Rebel Moon, that that's just
Mhm.
average, or are you just going
I'm
off
sure
somebody
some of them
else?
do, Cash.
Some
I'm
of them
sure
do.
some of them
Some of them
do.
do.
Yeah.
And I believe
mean-
I'm with Mike on this. I think the movie is average. But
Mhm.
they're like, whose side? It's like, oh, I already know what side I've picked.
Mhm.
That's not a problem for me. You know what side to pick, but
Mhm.
it's so funny. You don't give a fig. I mean, maybe you don't, but that doesn't mean other people don't or
Right.
do. Yes,
Do.
you may not give a
Mhm.
fig about it, but other people do. And
You
so
know,
the
when
question. Mhm.
when Jace messaged me and asked me if I wanted to watch with him, I thought, yeah, I've watched
Yeah.
part one with him. I might as well
Exactly.
watch part two.
Yep.
This
Mhm.
way I can formulate my own opinion after watching it instead of going
Right.
by what someone
Yeah.
else says.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I wish I would have been able to join you guys. Unfortunately, I was, it was after the show and I was busy. I would have loved to sat down
Right.
and watch it. I just know that it's going to be a long film.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, I'll watch it some, another night here. But again, my statement here is not defending the film. My statement isn't saying that any of that. I'm going after the reviews and how the reviews are, and in my
Mhm.
opinion, why reviews don't matter anymore. It's just like back in the day, also that if a movie had a bad review, it was very tempting to get. That's okay. Time to go see that movie. They hated it, which means it's going to be
Mhm.
good, especially if it's a genre film. Uh, Rotten Tomatoes at one time used to be good, but we know now they're paid shills. We know that now.
Yeah.
How many of those reviews that are on Rotten Tomatoes is not basically bots? Phil McCracken's little bots that took a job and went out there and did that. I can't trust it. They've lost credibility. A lot of these other reviewers, especially with the fact that all these reviews are copy and pasting, and the
Mhm.
copy and paste isn't even a good copy and paste. It's It's idiocracy. It's idiocy of this copy and what's being said. It's ignorant. No. You're
This is
ignorant.
well, in
So
another way,
mhm,
they just want to lecture you in this
right.
article by saying, "Oh, well, you see, this is not that good. I told you guys. I told you
Mhm,
guys. I told you guys." I hate that stuff.
It
yeah.
takes from Star Wars, it takes elements
Mhm,
from this, that, and the other. Well, what hasn't taken elements?
right.
Exactly.
I
Well,
mean, you could watch Forbidden Planet and then watch the original series of Star Trek, and you can see
mhm.
elements of Forbidden Planet in
Yes.
the original series.
Right.
Well, Keith from Pop Culture Minefield, myself, both said this is basically the unofficial pilot to Star Trek.
Mhm.
It was. And last night I was going through all the influences, which, if it was these guys that were writing about it, if they had have a chance, basically saying that they're stealing it and then double backing and being redundant with it. Uh that's what's the important part about looking at the lore building. Where were they borrowing from the lore? And yes, I say borrowing.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this is supposed to be was originally going to be a Star Wars film, so obviously that's going to have that major influence in there.
Mhm.
But now there's other elements that he was free to do. Now, was he successful at bringing those elements in or not? I'll find out. And I'll let people know what my opinion is on it. And again, like I said, my opinion. If people don't like it, fine. But I think the big thing, and I think it still will be, honestly, I don't think some of these reviewers actually did watch it. They just, again, it's like, oh, we'll just take this review and retool it, put it out there, making it sound like because we don't waste 3 hours watching this
You,
Zack
you
Snyder.
see with new articles one time, there's one person that actually writes the article, then
Mm-hmm,
there are different newspaper outlets that take that article and use it, and news
mm-hmm,
stations that take the article and use it for their 6 o'clock news report or 11 o'clock news report.
Mm-hmm. Well, even with us, YouTubers, not necessarily us three, but it's kind of funny. I watched a video about something, and then all of a sudden, an article pops up on one of these quote unquote like giant effing robot or something like that. All of a sudden, and then all of a sudden, a few days later, they have an article about it, and it just seems like it's almost verbatim of what it is. It's like, oh, I see what it is. Some YouTuber out there did this, and now you're trying to ride on that coattail. I hesitate to say plagiarize, but you start wondering. And I think the big thing is there is that hatred of Zack Snyder all across the board, including in the film industry. This guy has a prickly personality.
Yeah, and I can understand why some in the YouTube community specifically do not like Zack Snyder. I get that point. I get it wholeheartedly. I understand it.
Oh yeah,
I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
No,
at all.
He can definitely be an arrogant jackass. There's no doubt about that.
And I know for some there it's like it was hard for them to admit that the extended Zack Snyder cut of Justice League was good. I can understand that. I mean, really, honestly, but it sometimes is the merit. Is the person good? You got to divorce the man from the art, even though he really pissed you off, and he's good at that. He really is. He's just one of those filmmakers.
Who isn't in Hollywood nowadays good at pissing people off?
I'll get back to you on that. I'm sure there's got to be somebody. Sometimes people just piss people off by living. I mean, take a look how they Chris Pratt sometimes is looked at, and just because he breathes.
Henry Cavill, there's a few.
Henry Cavill, yeah. I mean, even James Woods. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they want to sit back and start calling him an idiot and all that, but he is a Mensa member, just like Mimi Rogers. She's a Mensa member too. So obviously, there's got to be some schmarts up there.
There does, and you're talking about how people are pissed off at Chris Pratt. Well, let's go ahead and bring this up because there are people that are pissed off about Stellar Blade. Why? Because they don't think there should be an attractive female character in a video game.
Now I know why Mike wants to play this game so bad and was probably going to ditch us Friday. I can see right there.
Baron.
Look at that.
Baron.
Hey, I don't blame you, man.
It's all like, folks, Baron's an instigator. He's the one that will start poking the bear, and then he'll shove you right in front of him as the bear's getting ready to attack.
That's
Mike starts saying on Friday, "I want to play bongos on that." Yay!
Oh, Mike, you hear that? That wasn't me this time.
You know what? Both of you. There. Bunch of troublemakers. I swear, can't get through one show without these two being the two troublesome teenagers that they are, and they're not even teenagers.
Help! I'm being repressed!
You're not being repressed, you're being placed in timeout. The two of you, the lot of you. So we have this article from Niche Gamer, and it was posted on Monday, and I can't really pronounce the author's name, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But it says Stellar Blade will be uncensored for all regions. All right, you two can come back. No, I don't want to hear anybody crying, whining.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow? Yo! I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Yeah.
I don't know which one of you it is, but one of you is the guy just sitting down and not even standing up.
You know who that is. That's Big Daddy TGAP Steve, because he's
That's right.
the next episode of Beverly Hills Pacific414.
Agreed. He's gonna sit down every time. He's not gonna stand up.
Mhm.
No, he's not.
Uh,
So it says Stellar Blade will be uncensored for all regions. Korean developer Shift Up has confirmed Stellar Blade will have the same uncensored version in all countries and regions, including the Japanese version.
God bless the Koreans.
News that Stellar Blade will be totally uncensored in all regions was also corroborated by Japanese outlets, For Gamer, Game Watch, etc., and their official social media. And you can see it here. Stellar Blade offers the same uncensored version in all countries, including the Japanese version.
Mhm.
Stellar Blade is a new title developed by game creator Kim Hyun Lee, who has worked on Nikkei and Destiny Child, as well as the head of Shift Up Studio. The studio attracted praise online for the aesthetics of their female characters. The work is a third person action adventure game, and the city develops by collecting the energy source called hyper cells on the field. The player takes on the role of Eve, a member of the 7th Airborne Corps who descends on Earth, which is infested with unknown creatures called not natives. I even played the demo and I forgot how they said it. Sorry. And throws himself, wouldn't it be herself, into
Mhm.
battle to take back the planet. The player can also obtain various equipment, clothing, accessories, and other appearance related items, and can also use points to unlock skills. Stellar Blade is scheduled to be released on April 26th for the PS5. A playable demo has been released with the ability to save game data, and that same saved game data from the demo will be transferred over to the full game.
That's
Now,
smart.
mhm.
yeah. Now, I know I did say I didn't like the controls in the demo, but then I got to thinking. There was another game. I didn't like the controls in the demo, yet in the full game, the controls were worked out, and I enjoyed playing the game. And that was RoboCop Rogue City.
Mhm.
So I'm crossing my fingers
Mhm.
that the input lag and the control issues will be polished in the full version. Because trust me, if they're not, you'll hear it from me.
Oh yeah, we
I'm not going to
will.
hold back.
But you know who's not going to like this game? Gorlock. Gorlock the Destroyer.
Oh, there are people that are offended by the character in this game. Yet you look
Mhm.
at the model that they used, and I'm thinking to myself, and okay, what's the big deal? They
Mhm.
scanned the model. The
Mhm.
character that you're playing as looks like the model. Guess what?
Mhm.
There are people of all different shapes, sizes, and different figures. Come on.
Okay,
Mhm.
so yes, according to this, because there was mixed reports that so Eve is an actual human,
Yes.
and she's also got a secret that her coworkers do not know about. Interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, but I'm sure we'll find that out as the game progresses.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Beverly
Well,
Hills
I hope this
414 secret, maybe.
I,
right.
I hope the gameplay experience
Yes.
is
Uh,
well
This
overall.
this might be a game that, unlike what happened with Jedi Survivor, that you'll pay $70 for, a little bit more with tax, and you'll be like, "Wow, I actually got my money's worth." So I hope so.
That's the optimistic side of me. That's what I'm hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
The Pollyanna.
Right? It's not the Pollyanna Baron.
I know. I know.
Being a Cub fan, I kept hoping that one year they would win the World Series, and they did in 2016.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's one thing about me. There is a part of me that'll always be optimistic. I know there are times where I seem to be negative. No, I'll just come out and say it exactly how it is. I won't sugarcoat it.
Well, it's like Cash. He's going to be going out there and buying that top tier level of Star Wars Outlaws. So I can't wait to hear his review off of that.
Hilarious. Very funny, Baron.
I can't. No, $130. No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's not your game.
Not for me. But you know what? Who am I to tell someone how to spend their money?
Exactly. Some people we know bought Suicide Squad, and they said it was somewhat decent.
But no, I mean, all reality though, all that money, and it's not going to be your game.
Right.
What happens when down the road the server goes? What you going to do then?
Yep.
It's not your game. It's on the whim. And do you really trust that maybe 2 years down the road? Oh no, we sold rights and such like that with Star Wars, and we can't do this no more. So the server's down.
I mean, if you're gonna pay more than $70, like these base games, and even some of this other stuff that's come out, their localization is bad. Or like, there's other stuff that's like that's not so good. But like Tears of the Kingdom, I would say if you're really a Zelda fan, I would definitely get the collector's edition of that if you can find it. Sure, it's more expensive, but I would say it's worth it.
But the big thing about this is just like you're saying that people have different body shapes. Another thing is games have all different types. We don't want cookie cutter games. There's going to be games that are going to be more quote unquote adult than others. Aim for more mature game players. I mean, really, in some ways, you look at like Dark Tide or something like that. That's one of them. I mean, or even Vermintide, the blood, the guts, the gore, and Hell Divers,
Yes.
So and then you're going to have games that, like Myth Force, which isn't so gory and all that, we can't go around and have everything cookie cutter. And yeah, there's going to be games out there that people like.
There's that Princess Peach game on the Nintendo Switch that people like.
Yeah. It's good.
There's a game out there for everybody.
Right. Don't destroy it. Just because you don't like it, don't destroy it.
Yeah.
Don't destroy the other person's ability to have it. But it's got women that look good. So
who cares?
And what's the problem? I'm sure if the roles were reversed, if it had a good looking guy in the game, there would be some women who would be playing it. Let's face it. When there's a good-looking guy in the movie, women will go see it.
And there will be stuff even from Western developers this year, I'm sure, that'll come out and say, "Oh, you know what? This looks pretty cool. I might be interested in this."
Well, yeah, and more importantly, if you're that fragile that there's a good-looking woman in a video game and is crushing you, it's not our problem. It's your problem. If you're really going to let it bother you that much, even having the fact that knowledge that you have a game out there where there's a good-looking woman that guys like to look at, and if that really, really bothers you, there's a Hotel Bellevue you can go to and do some basket weaving. Really.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with, if there's men out there, which I doubt that it definitely is not on the same level. They have a problem with good-looking men. Well, again, you can go to the same hotel, i.e. hospital, i.e. nut house. Sorry, is that politically incorrect? I'm sorry.
Who cares?
I care. I'm a caring man, man. I'm a caring man, man. I'm sensitive. I'm a sensitive man. I'm a sensitive male.
There's a game out there called Breathage that I know people like. I don't particularly care for it because it's not the style of game that I particularly go for.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna say to someone who likes the game, "Oh, you really should be playing that game because I don't like it."
Mhm.
Well, too bad, Mike. Too bad you don't like it.
I
do.
mean,
Yeah,
right.
it's everything now. Like, you're like, oh, what's this game coming out gonna be? Oh, it's $70. It's not like just
Mhm.
Star Wars Outlaws, other stuff. It's like, okay, but the question I keep asking always, and I think anyone should ask, are we getting $70 worth of content in the game? If we are, then there shouldn't be any problem. But as we've seen from the tech issues, from other issues, we're not. So it's like, well, then why pay $70 for it? Get it about $10 cheaper. Maybe it's a $60 game. Maybe it's less.
Mhm.
Even some of these games that are $50, there's not $50 worth of content. Why is this in here? Why do
Mhm.
we have to have any kind of censorship? Why does Grand Blue Fantasy need any kind of censorship? Why? And people go, "Oh,
Mhm.
it's not a problem." I'm like, "Of course it
Yeah,
is."
it is. Because you did the magic word. You cry about censorship one way, and then you demand it another way. You
Yep.
know, a lot of you out there that whine and cry about this stuff are developers yourselves, right? Why don't you get together and start your own snowflake programming gaming company and come out with blue-haired land whales
Yeah.
game and see how it goes? You know,
Mhm.
if you want to have your identity that bad in a game,
Well,
really, honestly.
there's already a company comprised of that, Baron. Sweet Baby Inc.
Yep. But they're
Yeah.
more of a consultant. They go out there and tell the
Yeah.
developers
Yeah,
what
they're
to do.
consultants.
Either way, they still have their influence put into the games.
Right.
Mhm.
And it shows.
It
But
it
why isn't these games
explains
selling?
right, it explains a lot, but yet something even like what Insomniac did with Rift Apart, I would tell people, you like platform games, play that. It's a fun
Mhm.
game. And I didn't feel there was any message drilled into my head. All the message was, we need to save the world. That was the message, and I like that.
I don't like that message. I want to see it burn, baby, burn.
Okay,
Um,
well,
yeah.
we know where Baron stands.
Right, seriously, wow.
Mhm. Yeah. Total destruction. Armageddon. There we go. Yeah.
I mean, we've
But
got
But
no.
then why am I surprised? He does like dear leader. I
that's
shouldn't be
true,
surprised.
right?
Say that
Exactly.
with more respect next time. Say that
Oh,
with more
boy.
respect next time.
Right.
But no, but no, reality is, again, if being called a name or quote unquote dead named or a game makes you lose your shit, makes you lose your shit, it's time to just stop. Just
Yeah,
stop. There's something wrong with you.
Go
If
outside
it's
and touch some grass.
yeah.
exactly
Or be
get
like me,
over it.
mow your
Well,
grass and work in the yard.
that's why it was interesting too, because the same people who are being hypocrites, what a surprise, are like, oh, look at how hot these characters are, and
Mhm.
Hades 2, yeah, it was Hades 2, and it's like, yeah, well, also here's the hypocrisy again. I see, guys, you
Mhm.
want Aphrodite and you want these different characters, and you think they're hot, you want to jump their bones or whatever, but yet people who are excited about Stellar Blade and they like the way the female, no, they're the wrong ones. So it's just, how about you guys just stop the hypocrisy? Unfortunately, that'll never happen. But
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of escapism.
Hmm.
Oh, that's not realistic standards. Yeah, and
Yeah.
what's your point?
Like, this is actually based on a Korean model, but yeah.
Mhm. No,
Like
but
a
I'm talking
real life
about other
person.
stuff.
I know.
I
No,
mean,
I know.
I get a kick when you have people going out there and saying about how the boob armor in 40K for the Sister of Battle is not effective because of
Yeah.
this blah blah blah. And even the Space Marines armor or it's all across the board. All this, it's like, well, except for one thing. Yeah, in the real world, you're right, but we're not in the real world.
Right.
This is escapism. I don't care. I'm not going to go through going and nitpicking it because it's escape. It's a fantasy. It's fiction.
Yeah.
It's not a guide how to make this armor
Yep.
or whatever it is, weapon, armor, even looks, that woman's body type isn't proper. It's like,
Right.
okay, what about that guy's body type? It's like, he looks like he's about to explode with all those muscles.
Yep.
It
Exactly.
doesn't matter. It
No,
doesn't matter.
it doesn't.
It's fun, silly escape. And again, if you are so caught up on it, you're the one with the problem. You're not the one that has a touch with reality.
This is the model for Eve in Stellar Blade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And really, I think she's hotter than the character. I've seen pictures of the character, and I see a picture of her, and it's like, yeah. I'll take the real one.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
She's a beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone wants to flame us for that, well, too bad. She is a beautiful woman.
Yeah, then you're insulting her.
Exactly.
Because, whether you like her or not, a lot of her career is the fact that she is a beautiful woman. Why? She's a model.
Yep.
And
I just want whoever buys Stellar Blade, including Mike, that people are getting their money worth, and that the combat is really good and the gameplay is a lot of fun. That's what I'm hoping for Mike. I really do. And
I'm going to go across the board, all that, and even the story. I hope the story.
Yes,
you can have all those other things and a horrible story. So in retrospect, it's not a good gaming experience. You want to get lost in the story, just like Mike did with the Star Trek game.
Yes.
You want to get lost.
Yeah, Mike sold me on that game. When it's finally on
Or,
Steam, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, or Mad Max. Yeah, same here.
Resurgence came out last year, part 2 of the stream. I was saying, okay, I'm going to get ready to wrap it up here, and I couldn't put the game down because I just got sucked into it. And I
got mad at you about that, by the way.
But Baron, I couldn't help it.
I know. It's just I had to leave and go to another channel that was settled for. It's like, you're still going. It's like, come on. It's like I'm getting yanked away in the middle of a movie. How dare you? How dare you? You stole our dreams. How dare you?
Baron Thunberg.
That's right.
No, but in all seriousness, that's what you want. You want a good story in that one, or it's not going to mean anything. I mean, even Vermintide and Dark Tide, for what they are, there's a good story. It's simple: go out and kill the heretic, but the banter they put into it, so there, you know that there's a story behind it as you're listening to the characters talk.
Are you sure there's a story when there's a character called The Rest of Us Mayflies?
Mm-hmm.
It's over here, Mayflies. I mean, it fits Cash perfectly.
Yeah, it does. That's why he picked it.
Well, it's just the game understands that even though there's not that much background, like there's some, but even those little conversations, like, oh, so they do know, and that's one of those situations where less is more, which we need more of in general in all of entertainment. I like to see more of that. Oh, the mystery, huh? Yeah,
right. I mean, as it goes, just because it's a simple plot doesn't mean it doesn't have a plot. Not everything's got to be all this big complex, where you literally have the corkboard behind you with the sticky notes and the string going from one to another, and you're trying to explain how everything. No, sometimes it comes down to the fact that you're out there, you're taking care of the bad guys, and you don't necessarily like each other.
Exactly.
Great. Mm-hmm. The vinyl. What? That sounds a little kinky there. I don't know if I want to go in that area.
Well, I can promise you that this won't be kinky, but it could be good for fans of this particular property, especially if they like the comics. Let me just get this shared out to Rumble as well.
Because we love you, Rumblers. We do. We care.
This article from Superhero Hype says that Thundercats Chitara racing into solo series with So Lee. This was posted on Monday. It's by Matt Morrison. It says Dynamite Entertainment enjoyed tremendous success with the premiere of their new Thundercats comic. Now the team's fierce feline female, Chitara, will receive her own solo series. The multi-issue miniseries will feature scripts by writer-artist So Lee and art by Domenico Carbone. I hope I said that right.
I hope you do.
The new series will act as a prequel to the current Thundercats comic, set before the destruction of Thundera and the Thundercats' journey to Third Earth. The story will focus on Chitara as she navigates the stifling world of Thundera nobility. The series will deal with her search for her place in an unsure universe. She will also contend with the psychic gift that gives her alarming visions of the ancient past and disastrous future.
That sounds okay. You got me intrigued.
There are some very cool things about Chitara that have been overlooked in the original cartoon. Things that I really want to make the center of her story, noted Solely. She's also iconic and very strong. It makes sense she gets her own series.
Wait a moment. She's strong? We didn't have those. What do you mean strong? She wasn't. How can she be? I think that's a lie.
Not in 1985. No.
No, not at all. We never had strong.
We didn't have strong characters or strong women in TV or movies. I mean, last week we were watching Stripes. Yeah, the two MPs. Neither of those women were strong, were they? No. They didn't. They didn't go into action. No.
Well, the one couldn't hold up to the Aunt Jemima treatment, though. That's the thing, though.
Baron. Can't take him anywhere.
No.
He's the kid that's crawling all over the counter when you're telling him to get down, and he's going, but I want that. Oh, fine. You can ask for it, but you don't have to climb on the counter for it.
And the scary thing is, I'm the oldest one here, too. I mean, that's frightening.
And it says it's looking to one of the most important supporting characters. Dynamite Entertainment CEO and publisher Nick Barussi, sorry. Where did I get Brunacino from? Also echoed the importance of Chitara's story and Lee's commitment to telling it. We didn't want to create spin-offs just to create spin-offs, Barussi noted. However, Lee's pitch for a story detailing things about Chitara that were hinted at in the original cartoon but never developed was a clear winner.
I like that. I like that, Steve. We didn't want to just do it just to do it, like a lot of stuff is now. We're just going to do it, because everything is cool. But no, it was like there's a connection. There's a story here. There's something we can actually explore about this character. I like that. It gives me a little faith.
And it goes on to say they've revealed the variant covers. Dynamite has assembled a top-notch team of artists to provide covers for the first issue of Thundercats Chitara. So Lee has produced one cover in her trademark style. She is joined by superstar artist Sozo Micah, and forgive me if I butcher these names. I'm not doing it on purpose. Leslie Lyrics Lee, Rebecca Pebla, Edwin Gelman. The 5 covers of Thundercats Chitara #1 can be viewed below. So this is one of them.
Look nice.
Yeah. Nice old-fashioned line art style.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it looks nice.
This looks good too.
There's your 80s pinup style.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of manga-ish looking there.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
No.
I gotta say, of the ones that we've seen so far, this is my favorite.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. I just like the way, the shading's done, the lighting's done as well. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, look at all that detail. Like, it's nice
Oh,
to
yeah,
see. Like, wow.
that's
A
another
lot.
that I like about it.
Yeah.
And not that it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but I have to confess it's my least favorite of the ones we've seen so far. But but you're like you're saying, it is good. And just because it's the least favorite, it doesn't mean it's bad.
The one in the spandex yellow looks really nice too.
Mm-hmm.
That's wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't think so?
Okay,
Mm,
I don't know. I
Well,
don't
it
know.
is the word. I don't know. The arms in that way look a little. I don't know.
Mhm.
And of course, you got the one like you guys said for like the '80s, like a pinup one, and then you got the
Yeah,
original. I don't know. I
yeah,
mean,
mine are.
I'm just saying that there's a lot of. It's nice to see a lot of detail and art in this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
I mean,
Really
just because it's not
appreciate that.
necessarily your thing doesn't mean you
Yeah.
can't appreciate it, and that's the important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I think they're all good. I mean, I honestly think they're all
Yeah,
good.
I do.
The
too.
last one I have to sit back and say is my least favorite. The last one, but again,
Yeah.
just because it's your least favorite doesn't mean you hate it.
Yeah.
because there's different art styles. And
Yes.
Right? Exactly. And so be it. I mean, Lord knows we've had issues of comics where an artist comes in, takes over for a little bit. You don't like the art necessarily, but it's still good. It's not repulsing you.
Right.
And so what? It comes down to the fact that did they do a good job? It's a good story. Yeah. I like all of them. I like all of them.
and
The first
speaking
two.
of comics, if you two can hold down the fort, I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Is he trying to say that we're comics? I tell you.
That's right. We're comics.
No.
We've talked about this before. It's just like this is. I remember I was watching with Spock earlier. We were watching Justice League, and it's just like we were talking about live action stuff, and it's like, even some of these jokes, like they just wouldn't have the balls anymore to do, which is really unfortunate. And I really, if they could just get somebody in there, like James Gunn, to me, people were like, oh, we gotta have faith in him. Like I had faith of him with the Guardians, and I think overall it turned out well, but DC, it's like, guys, like there's all these stories. Like everything doesn't have to be so dark. I know DC's more for being dark, having these dark stories, but they could do just other stuff. Like I was telling Spock before. I says, look, if they really wanted to do the Blue Beetle, they could have done more of a tongue-in-cheek thing instead of saying things, oh, Batman's fascist, whatever. But it's just like, and then Blue Beetle's like, well, I don't really agree with that, but it's really funny to me because they just could do a lighter story. And I like this whole thing that they had in Brave and the Bold where Huntress and Blue Beetle has a thing for Huntress. And I'm like, oh, they could have had something like that, but they won't do it. What? Because Huntress is a very attractive woman?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean,
but like, it's just, they had it with the cartoon and they can bring it to live action. But they need to keep going in the better direction. And it's like, that's why like all these DC films, Marvel's falling apart now, but DC was falling apart before that because they're just going in so many wrong directions. They've got a bad story, they have bad characters, they have some stupid agenda, and there's always like problems there. And like all they have to do is like look at what they did with animation. Let's take those stories, let's take some of that dialogue, let's see what we can do with live action. That's why it's so funny. I always say this, Baron, because there's always all these missed opportunities that they won't do with all this stuff. If they did Zatanna, well, look, you've got, I know, source material, but you got source material from things like
Right.
Batman the Animated Series. You've got source
Yeah.
material from the comics, the older comics. You got like the 2000s. You've got source material from even Justice League Unlimited. Like they could be
Right.
doing all that cool stuff. And it's like, dude, once again, you're leaving money on the table. And we see this time and time again with different companies. They can't stop leaving money on the table for
Well,
whatever
when it
reason.
came,
Yeah.
well, when it came to live action, you could really tell there was DC trying to keep up with the Joneses, i.e., Marvel.
Right.
And so they didn't have a direction in the fact, what is Marvel doing and what can we try to do to copy that to get our
Right.
own success?
Right.
Forgetting that Marvel and DC are two different creatures.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Blue Beetle. I mean, I remember in the 80s when they did the revamping, you had Justice League International. Yeah, you had Booster Gold and you had Blue Beetle together. And they're kind of, even though, you had serious stuff going on, but there was a lot of humor between those two characters.
Right.
And the situations they were put in. Not that, saying that this was a yuck fest. No, it wasn't. It gave you a chuckle, and a genuine chuckle, a believable chuckle. Because of what's going on. But even Batman has a sense of humor. But they've tried so hard to make him too much of this dark knight.
Right.
And
he's too brooding. I agree. I mean, even we
Right.
saw, even with the Nolan films, we saw the humor, the same kind of humor that Batman's always had. But now we've got with Mr. Man from Harry Potter and other stuff, like he's just brooding. You're right. There wasn't really any humor in the Batman film.
Right.
It was very dark. It's okay, but it would be nice to see something.
Yeah, in 89. Whoa. Okay. In 89, you had the Batman with Keaton. You had humor in there.
Yes.
You had Batman with humor. Bruce Wayne being wry with some of his humor. And that's the important thing. It's supposed to be fun. And for DC, you have a guy who's made it known that he hates so much stuff about these superheroes.
Right.
And now he's going to be in charge. And what does Mike have for show and tell today? Your mic is dead, man.
You're muted, bro.
You're muted. We appreciate it, but you're muted.
Shut up, Aaron. But first of all, I want to say thank you very much to Pops for having me on Talk Hard a couple weeks ago to talk Transformers the movie, and he sent me 3 comics of the new Transformers comics.
Wow.
This is the Starscream line art.
Wow.
Oh, sweet.
The best.
And there is also one that's inked, but I liked the line art one, so that's the one I chose. And he also sent me this one.
Oh, cool. Da 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 da.
Very cool.
Till all are one.
Yes. And he also sent me this one.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing
I'm
that.
I'm trying to get the glare out. But
I know.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's the Don't Mess with Optimus cover.
Right. I am Optimus Prime. Silent, Starscream.
Get off me, Prime!
I'm not that kind of Transformer.
Neither am I. You're a Decepticon, and I'm going to destroy you. But, Pops, thank you very much for sending me those 3 Transformer issues. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to the next time you and I do something together.
Pops is a good guy. He really
is.
I agree.
He is.
He would put up with
and if folks aren't subscribed to his channel, well, what are they waiting for?
I mean,
even get his link.
I mean, here I am in the chat, and all of a sudden, goes, oh, there's Burn. He's being the troll again. It's like, what do you mean? I'm not a troll. It's Phil that's a troll, not me.
He knows you well enough.
I know. I try to pull the wool over his eyes, and I think he knows me more than I do. It's scary how much he knows about me. What did I do? What is there some sort of blotter book somewhere? A warning book? You know, like when you went into the old supermarkets, don't take checks from this man.
Yeah, your picture's plastered on every YouTube wall.
I
Beware
believe
this
that.
man.
I believe that.
Beware this man. He'll blame Phil McCracken, but it's not Phil McCracken.
Baron's going in all the different bakery places and where is Forbidden Donut, and they're like, "What are you talking about, sir? Forbidden Donut!" And then he like yells it loud, and then he runs to the next store. Where is Forbidden Donut?
Donut!
Bacon, egg, and cheese McMuffin. That's what he's looking for.
Hey, you know that one steak, egg, and cheese I hear is coming back for a time. Those were great. I don't know why they got rid of them. I love them. Oh.
Because it's McDonald's, they get rid of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. McDonald's may be worth going to more since they're adding Krispy Kremes. They've got some deal with Krispy Kreme going
I'm
on.
not a big.
I don't have to go to McDonald's to get my Krispy Kremes. I can just go down the street and get my Krispy Kremes.
We had Krispy Kreme, then they went belly up here. There were some shenanigans with the books or something like that. Really, honestly. But I'm not a big Krispy Kreme guy. I really am not. I wish we had Mr. Donut around here. That was my go-to. We have Dunkin', but Mr. Donut was my guy.
When I was growing up in California, we had a place called Golden Donuts. Oh, they were good.
Oh, just the name. Woo! Just the name tells you right off the bat it's going to be good.
I want to say hello to the angriest of Canadians, Angry Canadian.
What's up, dude?
And I also want to say hello to Paul of Animology.
Well, yeah, Paul's suffering from a cold, so
it sucks.
Yeah, he's dying. He's dying.
That sucks.
Yeah, he just had a visit from the Avengers today. That's how bad it is. So.
Do not grieve. Soon I shall be one with the Matrix. We're just having fun at your expense, Paul.
Yeah, we're not laughing with you. We're laughing at you.
Nice. Oh no, Paul knows how we are. And if he doesn't know how we are by now, well, what the heck, Paul?
Yeah, well, he knows what we are, and he still comes around. It's like, okay, well, you're a masochist.
All right. I don't know. I've been told that for being a Cub fan.
Yeah. Sometimes the same way for being a Twins fan too, but yeah. Caps is high. Yeah. Cap says you'll be seeing me next week. What?
So, either one of you a fan of The Walking Dead, or anyone currently watching us right now a fan of The Walking Dead?
I'm not.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I'm not. I'm just so tired of the zombie stuff.
I get that.
It bores me. So no. And I realize it's more than just the zombies, but it's all the same to me now. It really is. It's like, oh, another zombie thing. Great.
I've been watching the miniseries, the one with Michonne.
All I know is
they've been enjoyable. No.
All I know is
Carol.
every year I get to see the dead walk, come to life and walk, and then every 4 years, 2 times a year, Halloween and voting day. But that's beside the point. I don't need to see the zombies more. Hey, bore me.
Well, I know there are some fans of The Walking Dead. I'm not one of them, but there are going to be times on Pop Talk where I'm going to talk about something I'm not a fan of, but I know other people are. And if you are a fan of any particular franchise, not just The Walking Dead, when we're talking about it in an article, please give us your thoughts on it.
If you're a fan of The Walking Dead, I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just
Or
because
is
it's
he?
not my.
Or is he? Or is he?
Am I? Yeah. Again, if it's not, just because it's not mine, it's like, hey, you like it, enjoy. You know, go for it. Knock yourself out. Don't get it.
This comes from comicbook.com. It says Robert Kirkman, The Walking Dead animated series can't happen until I get the rights back from AMC. I'd love to see it happen someday, Kirkman says, of a Walking Dead animated show. This is by Cameron Bonomolo. Bonomolo. It was actually posted on the 14th, but I thought, you know what? This is an interesting article.
Hmm.
The Walking Dead won't be reanimated anytime soon. Even before creator bump. Even before Robert Kirkman and Prime Video collaborated on adult animated superhero show Invincible, fans have been hoping to sink their teeth into an animated adaptation of the Skybound Image comic by Kirkman, Tony Moore, and Charlie Edard. Kirkman has been receptive to the idea of a faithful animated version of the black and white zombie comic that spanned 193 issues and spawned a live action Walking Dead universe at AMC, but it seems the network isn't biting.
Hmm.
I'd love to see it happen someday, but I don't think it'll be possible until I get the rights back from AMC, Kirkman wrote in response to a fan who asked about a Walking Dead animated show in the Letter Hacks column of the Walking Dead Deluxe number 85. Skybound's The Walking Dead editor Amanda LaFranco added, "There's definitely sorry, there's definitely been developments over the years for something like this, and there's a lot of fans over here that would still very much love to make that happen." In 2010, the network released an 8-minute, fully animated motion comic adapting 13 pages from The Walking Dead #1 by Kirkman and artist Tony Moore. AMC also dabbled in comic style animation in an animation segment of the webisode series. The Walking Dead Red Machete, AMC's The Walking Dead universe chief content sorry, officer Scott sorry about that.
No
Content
worries.
officer Scott M. Gimple has expressed interest in using animation in potential future episodes of anthology spin-off tales of The Walking Dead, but the franchise has so far only dabbled with the format. AMC acquired the rights to the graphic novel in 2009, and one of the largest development deals the network ever closed. The Walking Dead debuted in 2010 for series developer and showrunner Frank Darabont, who served as executive producer with Gail Ann Hurd, David Alpert, and Kirkman. The the Darabont directed AMC original series premiered marked the sorry marked the largest audience by any original series on the network and delivered the highest ratings in the key 18 to 49 demographic for any cable series premiere in 2010. AMC's Walking Dead was the #1 series on basic cable for 12 consecutive years when it ended its 11 season run after 177 episodes in 2022. Yet Next Generation did 178 episodes and 7 seasons. Granted, it was a different era of TV back then, but just saying, back in the day of 24 episodes, 26 episodes per season. In March, Kirkman and 4 other Walking Dead executive producers heard Alpert Charles Egley and former showrunner Glenn Mazzara saw a victory in their 2022 profit sharing suit against the network when a federal judge denied AMC's motion to have the case dismissed after first filing a suit in 2017, and after Darabont was awarded $200 million in its separate profit participation lawsuit in 2021. The executive producers sued a second time in a suit arguing they were entitled to a payment well over $200 million from AMC. Along with since ended spin-offs Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead World Beyond, AMC continued The Walking Dead with the spin-offs The Walking Dead Dead City, starring Lauren Cohen's Maggie and Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Negan.
Mm-hmm.
The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, starring Norman Reedus, and The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live, starring Andrew Lincoln's Rick Grimes and Danny Guerrero McConey. Dead City Season 2 and Daryl Dixon Season 2, also starring Melissa McBride as Carol, are currently in the works at AMC.
Yep, I've watched some of those. They're enjoyable. The Daryl Dixon one was good, and then the Rick and Michonne one was good too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm not a fan of The Walking Dead, and I'm not a fan of every single property that's out there. But if I see an interesting article, we'll talk about it. And hopefully fans of that particular series can help fill in the gaps for us. Because I'm not going to come on here and go, oh yeah, I've been watching this series for years when I haven't been watching it at all.
Well, Cash identifies with these zombie shows because, he lives in Beverly Hills where you have the upper class zombies that walk around with their Gucci's, sunglasses, nose in their phones.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Try to see what TMZ says this week.
Yeah. Sure. I'm gonna be sending Jesse Ventura to your home. I'm sure he needs a word with you.
Baron. What are you doing Tuesday night?
I don't even know where Jesse is now. He was saying about how he was going to move down to Mexico, and he wanted to. If he moved down to Mexico, he wanted to have some illegals take his place up here in America. So I don't know. He's kooky. He's kooky.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Crit?
Oh, we have an orca sighting.
He did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he says Rebel Moon Part 2 should be renamed from Scargiver to Slow Mo Wheat Farmer.
See, now that's original.
Yes.
That's original. Why can't again, you can tell that wasn't copy paste. That was straight from the flipper. Straight from the blowhole.
For democracy. Yeah.
For democracy. Mm-hmm.
That's right. You guys will be playing Helldivers.
Yep.
Yeah. Why you Sasha
automatons and
I don't know those automatons kicked our ass. I'm not ready for them.
I'm not ready for them either. Baron and I tried it, and we're both like, no, we're not ready for this.
Yeah, chickening out.
See you guys.
Oh, there's the escape switch. Bye. Have fun. Damn robots. In disguise.
They weren't even disguised. They were just coming at us with their freaky heads, all red-eyed and ready to terminate us.
Well, I'm sure Baron's excited about that crit. So.
What's it? Oh,
No,
yeah. I haven't seen it. I
hadn't seen that article.
Me either.
I saw something about that. Some tomfoolery shenanigans where it is supposed to be done by China, but China slipped it into North Korea to do some of the work. Something like that. I haven't read the full article, but it's like, yeah, I can see that. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just like these Western shows. Like they're also edited in China and other places. It's crazy. It's like, don't we have the people already? We can do our own editing here.
No, you're busy.
Cost-cutting measures, Cash. Cost-cutting measures.
Of course, but like just, let's bring it overseas. I'm like,
Yeah, they're too busy walking around with their Gucci's and Starbucks nose in their phones and being Beverly Hills zombies.
But you know what? It'll be interesting to see if Kirkman actually gets the rights back one day and they can actually make a full animated series. Because you know there are fans that will enjoy it, just like we enjoyed the Babylon 5. The Road Home.
Yeah, well, it's Kirkman's just not like, it seems like The Walking Dead and whatever would never end, but the guy keeps trying new things and trying to reinvent stuff, even though the characters are pretty much the same. Yeah, there's some changes, but I don't feel like, from what I've seen of The Walking Dead recently, that it's as bad as where Star Trek is going. I think they're really trying to be like, hey, we're going to try to push the boundaries on this, and we're going to try to keep coming up with good storylines, and as long as people are watching it, there shouldn't be a problem. Unlike Star Trek, where some people will tell us, oh, there's nothing wrong with Star Trek, whatever. You can feel that way. You can feel that way all you want, but it's just...
all I gotta say about that is 2 Star Trek shows being canceled behind a paywall.
Exactly.
If you're behind a paywall,
and another one was canceled, and Prodigy, only to be rescued by Netflix. Last I saw.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was on It was on Nickelodeon or what? Yeah, it's like So I don't know.
And it's fine. Like, I understand people get burned out from this, but from what I've still seen, and there's still characters that are favorite. That's why I don't think they'll ever kill off Daryl Dixon and stuff. I think the fans would go kooky. Like they would, what? No. It's just like the whole thing with Sherlock Holmes in the books. No, don't do that. Like, yeah.
You're gonna. It's like killing off Optimus Prime. They would never do that.
Right.
They've done it multiple times.
Yeah, they have.
We'll kill him, bring him back, and kill him again. And
That's
then
right.
what?
Kill him again.
We'll kill him again.
Yeah, they killed him in Transformers 2, if I remember as well. Yeah, I think they did. He got all messed up.
Yeah, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, they killed him.
Which I still think is the weakest of the 3.
An anime series and animated series, they've killed him, brought him back.
Yep.
They obviously have something against Optimus Prime. That's all I gotta say.
They do, man.
Yeah.
They're all Decepticons.
I think so.
Maybe they are.
Well, we do have some time before we go exclusively over to Rumble. So if you gentlemen have an article you'd like to talk about, please.
Do we want to go in that minefield, Cash?
I don't know. Do we? I'm trying to think. There hasn't been really too much.
Well, it's the one you put in there to make sure I had a heart attack.
Oh, well, we can look at that. Well,
basically,
it's just, with the... Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, well, there it is, folks, boys and girls. We got to have our weekly Warhammer, don't we? It's now time for the Warhammer moment with Baron Orman Tagge.
Nope,
well, at least it's not the Dungeons and Dragons moment.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
Because if it
you know what
was
really
Jared,
grinds my
you'd
gears?
say to me,
Well,
Mike,
yeah.
are you trying to give me a heart attack?
Yeah,
No, no.
he went
Yes,
full
you
grind
are.
my gears, man, on that
Well,
one. But I understand that D
both
and
of
D
these,
was
both of
insulting,
these.
man. That was
Oh, yeah.
insulting. That PBS News article was insulting to people. Absolutely
PBS
insulting to long fans or
Well,
long lost
the
fans.
sa-
Excuse me.
it's like the in the 80s when you had 60 Minutes doing their hit piece.
Oh yeah,
With it's like you're supposed to consider them credible after that. I mean,
well they
yeah,
did it.
right.
However you feel about Ron DeSantis, they did a hit piece on him too. They did.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. So
Mhm. Oh yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean,
they've lost credibility, that's for sure.
well, all of them.
60 Minutes used to have a lot of credibility, but they've lost credibility. Yeah, a lot of them have.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, but we can talk about that in about 20 minutes.
That's right.
And I think Vor is right. They don't like good guys. They don't.
Yeah, they seem to.
So, and you got this from Fandom Pulse, Cash. I don't know how good these guys are. How good are they?
They're pretty
I've never
good.
heard
This
of it.
is Jace told me about them. They're basically what this is before bounding into the comics. They have pretty much sometimes they have better articles than bounding the comics.
Okay. Well, I mean, they said it was from Chase, it gets me a little nervous, but we'll still go ahead anyways. Besides, Jerry Seinfeld calls the movie business over. I saw that story earlier, but okay. So we have here from Fandom Pulse by John Del Aros, datelined today. Wow. Games Workshop CFO sells off her stock amid Warhammer 40K female custodies controversy.
Yeah.
And hey, but that's not a custodian. That is an Ultra Smurf. That's what Mike likes to play when he does Space Marine.
Okay.
Yeah, so what if I do?
Smurf. He likes Rowboat Girly Man. Games Workshop was caught in a DEI scandal last week with his changing of the lore to add female custodians to its background. As fans have become more outraged with the offerings of 40K, the company has pretended not to care, well, at least not in public. Now, a report has surfaced that in the middle of this PR crisis, the company's CFO has sold off the majority of her stock. And yeah,
that does not sound good at all.
And no, this is not a trumped up thing that's going on over there. Fans are pissed.
Yes, they're pissed.
Actually, they're more pissed than I imagined that they were. I mean, I was underestimating the anger. Warhammer 40K is a miniature war game set in the distant future. No, the far grimdark future. Get it right. With mankind spread across the stars, its tone, well, there we go, is grimdark and has generally had a male-centric fan base that is very passionate about the lore, which has been created over novels, comics, and more over the last several decades. We can include video games as well as, most importantly, the tabletop.
Yes. Right.
Female custodians were never a thing in 40K. There are different female-centric units, but the custodians were always labeled as men, as the same thing with Space Marines. This change was noticed by fans when Games Workshop made a new announcement, and anger came from the fan base when the company replied they had always been that way, gaslighting their own customers about the situation. Yeah, you better be careful. These people know what, and this part here is related about the Bill of Souls attack Warhammer 40K fans as bigot for disliking. I mean, that's sad to see because Bell of Lost Souls was actually pretty good. So if they're going down that road, screw you. A former employee of Games Workshop has made a post explaining that the lore of Warhammer 40K was always suspect as well, stating that unreliable narrators were a large part of the game's background. This was met with derision, as the books and the codexes were never presented that way. Yeah, there was stuff that was basically ironclad, and then, of course, there was other stuff, as they said, given to interpretation over 10,000 years of history. A further stir occurred when the Warhammer 40K wiki was changed to reflect the female custodians erasing the history and pretending like it happened exactly as Games Workshop said. Meanwhile, the mainstream media came to the defense of the wargaming company, calling fans bigots who didn't like the deep lore of 40K disrespected. Now, according to
nothing better than to attack the long time fan base.
yeah,
Gosh.
these people know it in and out, and when it comes around to the lore, it's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole.
Right.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Now, according to a report from Business Desk, the Games Workshop CFO sees the writing on the wall and is panic selling her stock. Rachel, okay, I'm going to try to get through this without laughing. One, okay, I can, Baron, you can do it. You can do it. Rachel Tung has been CFO of Games Workshop for some time, accumulating more than £1 million British pounds worth of stock in the company. And, that sounds about right. She put in her resignation in January, but is staying on for a full year while the company finds a replacement. However, during this controversy, she sold 2/3 of her stake in the company, signaling she sees where financial waters are heading for the 40K ownership. Excuse me. Much of the company is owned by funds BlackRock and Vanguard, two companies who have been pushing DEI and sanity into cultural entertainment everywhere. Despite this causing problems for other shareholders, their stakes are so large they tend to sway companies anyway. Games Workshop appears to be another victim of the DEI scheme from global funds. It's unclear whether this was the largest amount of Game Workshop CEO could sell, as often those who work in companies are subject to insider trading laws that only allow a certain cap at a time. Rachel Tung could be planning to sell the rest of her stock in the future, but this is already a bad sign for the company already in peril. What do you think of the Games Workshop CFO selling off her stock as Warhammer 40K undergoes controversy? Please leave us a comment below. Okay, and there's the comments. Larry Fink and the CEO of Vanguard need to be thrown in jail. These executives are all evil, should be replaced by actual fans. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they should be. I mean, it's things are in peril. It's just, once again, if it's not Hasbro, now it's Games Workshop. It just goes down the list. It's Naughty Dog, all kinds of stuff. It's like, why are you guys losing money? Because you're not making the fans happy. You're going in this agenda. You have to have this, that, and the other. You're insulting fans who don't like things that you guys are doing. Even people who are coming out and giving actual constructive criticism, you're saying that they're horrible people. You don't know what you're talking about. All this stuff. It's just a whole line of this, and it needs to stop if these companies want to continue to survive. Because their whole goal is to make money.
Right. I mean, people are invested in this. Even more than just money, they're invested.
Yes, they are.
They're invested in the lore, the story. They love it. They have their favorite factions. They have inside those factions, they have their favorite sub-factions. And yeah, I'm sorry. This is a testosterone-driven game in the universe. I mean, when the main impetus about Warhammer is war, that's all there is. There is no such thing as peace.
Right. Exactly.
You're constantly at war.
That's why if you do something that's Star Wars, for example, and you have peace, you're just like, but it has Star Wars in the title.
Right.
It makes no sense. Yeah.
And this era of people pounding their pud over dystopian universes, well, here you go. This is the ultimate dystopian. This is ultra dystopian. You don't want to live in this world.
Exactly.
I mean, you just want to visit it and read the stories about these people. But it's like, it's tragedy. This is a tragedy that these people are going through. The Space Marines are only meant for one thing to do: die for the Emperor, fighting for the Empire. I mean, that's their only job. You take regular people and literally gene gene warped them into a killing machine. That even parts of their emotions are gone. No fear. They don't think like humans anymore. They're metahumans. They're transhumans, and I'm not meaning it like the flag wavers either. We're talking about transhumanists.
Right.
And even then, when you got that, you still have the women in there. You still have the Sister of Silence and the Sister of Battle, and of course the Imperium. So it's like things are represented in there. Just because you're not happy that it's not being represented, remember, Sister of Battle is all women. You can't have men in there. Just like Space Marines.
Yep.
All this is this is this is the first step of them wanting to make female Space Marines, because all of the custodians are basically super Space Marines, special Space Marines that guard the Emperor.
Yep. Yes, it's going to be argument again. Well, why can't females be Space Marines too? Why can't it's like, well, then you start the other argument. Well, then why can't they go into the sisterhood?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't the brotherhood go into the sisterhood? Because there's different rules, but people
Mm-hmm.
don't want to understand that. Oh, we all have to be the same. Well, no, that's boring.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, when it comes around to the Space Marine, it has to do with genetics,
right?
Because they got to be tied into the Emperor, who gave the gift to the Primarchs, where basically your gene seed is from the Primarchs. So basically, you're the Emperor's grandchildren running around, and the Primarchs are the Emperor's sons. Reason why you don't have men part of the ecclesiarchy in the form of the Brothers of Battle is because of the law that they came in with, that they could not have a male army. And they figured, oh, wait a moment, we have ourselves a loophole. They didn't say anything about women.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's as simple as that. If you want realism, there's realism. There's politics.
Right.
Don't F up a good thing.
Exactly.
If you don't like it,
unfortunately, that's what a lot of these companies, whether they're gaming companies or movie studios, that's what they're doing. They're messing up a good thing.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They refuse to say the bigger picture and what that they can do with all this stuff, all these different properties from Warhammer and all this. They know this has to be this because we don't have enough female, or we don't have this, or the females can't look like this, or on and on and on. And it's like, but ask why this stuff sells. It's not just because sex sells. It's because of other reasons too.
Right.
Lara Croft isn't, yes, sex sells because before of Lara Croft, for example, but there was more to that. She raids tombs. She's an interesting character. She has a personality. You go on and on with this stuff. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, if there's one thing you can see about 40K, it has nothing about trying to sell sex. That's for sure.
No, it doesn't. It's a very grim future.
Mm-hmm. And
it's about trying to kill orcs or rats.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Orcs,
or some kind of aliens,
or chaos,
chaos,
Eldari, Drukari, Tau, Necrons. I mean,
the Necrons are the aliens, right? If I remember correctly,
they're all aliens. Yeah,
they're all aliens. Okay, good,
yeah. The Xenos,
the Xenos.
The Xenos.
Yeah.
Or Xenos, however you want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but really, no matter what, tabletop wargaming has always been male-centric because it evolved from Napoleonic warfare.
Yep. That doesn't mean females can't play with you guys. But
right. If they want to play. It's just the fact that it's not necessarily aimed for women.
Exactly.
It's just aimed for the fact this is what it is, and men gravitate to it more. It wasn't something where they intentionally go, hey, let's make something specifically for men. No. It just, again, there's differences between overall men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of women, this is not their thing. Fine. And it is a thing for some women. Great. You're welcome. Just don't fuck up the lore.
Yep.
Don't make us change things because you feel it has to be changed for you. And that's the other thing about it, too. It's not necessarily the women, again, that are complaining about it. It's the little pansy boys that come in there that figure, oh, if I start doing this, I might get laid. No, really, honestly,
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
see,
I
I'm
think there's
standing up for you. I'm your ally. Come on. Can I get some now?
yeah.
I'm sure that's what you told the long suffering.
No. She just had to look at me. I didn't have to say a word. She goes, okay, you're pathetic enough. I'll take you. I'll
Well,
settle
gentlemen,
with you.
seeing as we are getting closer to going over to
Yep.
Rumble exclusively,
Mm-hmm.
would you mind promoting yourselves and letting the good folks on YouTube and Twitter know what you have coming up on your channels? Excuse me.
I'll not only let the good folks, I'll even let the bad folks know. Besides hanging out with these two knuckleheads on the various things that we do on Phantom Legacy, Baron Orman Tagge's Phantom Legacy for that matter, Saturday, Central Daylight Time, we'll be talking about Babylon 5. Yes, I only have one more episode I'm re-reviewing for this episode. So we will be doing it 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Phantom Legacy, Babylon 5 Season 5 discussion. So be there, RB Square.
All right.
Short and sweet. See.
And what about you, Cash Monet?
Well, we've got 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be me, Baron, Spock, and Vor, and we're all going to Terminus. We're going to kill bugs. We're going to kill automatons. Yeah, autonomons. No, automatons.
Automatons.
They're robots.
Wontons.
And wontons. I like to just make fun of that name, but yes. So we're gonna do that for a few hours. We're taking a break. The whole group is taking a break from Vermintide 2 for a little while. That doesn't mean
Thank
we're
God.
not gonna go back to it, because I know Phil's gonna be like, "Well, you guys quit, man. You guys quit." So no, we will be going back to it.
Well, we're always taking breaks.
Yes, and I'm also working with Angry Canadian, which will be coming up, and we're going to be doing a stream about a Japanese RPG, and he's going to be in the chat or in the VC, and he'll be asking me questions about the game, and we'll be talking, and I'll be grinding and getting levels, and so that'll be fun. That'll be coming up. I don't know what day that's going to be. It's either going to be this week or next week. That'll be fun. And then I'm working, of course, on basically telling Zoe Saldana that no, we don't need a sequel to Star Trek. The 3 were fine. No more. Like it's just the direction. I know they were, but
fine
I know.
selective.
What it comes down to, I know what it comes down to is that if you like those movies, that's fine. I didn't hate those movies, but I have to be honest with people all the time and say they're not memorable films. I cannot remember much at all what happened in Beyond, what happened Into the Darkness, whatever it was called, and then the other Star Trek movie. Yeah.
Here, I thought you were going to try to talk her into having a date. Okay.
Right. I think she's married, actually.
So it's Hollywood. They don't care.
Yeah. But yes, we'll see what happens with that, and then but yeah, I'm just still working on those videos, and then there's more gaming stuff coming out, and just looking towards that. So yeah, a lot of stuff still coming up on the Phantom Hooligans, but I'm very much looking forward to streaming Helldivers. I just hope everything works out when I quit the game, that it doesn't crash before the stream's over or anything. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
There's sometimes some bugs in there, literally.
Do a practice connection before you actually start to stream.
Yeah.
To see how everything's going.
Mm-hmm.
Barrett and I had a few issues, but I did discover that as long as I don't exit out of the session, we can still stay connected.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so what I might just do is just leave the game on, so then, and hopefully I'll be able to tab out fine, and then I can close the stream, and then I'll quit the game. So I think that would probably be better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And she'll take one look at your chin and go, "I don't care if I'm married or not. I want to go on a date with you, Cash." Oh, we moved on from that? Okay.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's all coming up on the Phantom Hooligans. So yes.
Yay.
And then I'll be
All
with
right,
these
and-
knuckleheads too another day. So
And just to let everybody on YouTube and Twitter know what's coming up on the Pacific Forum for YouTube channel, Rumble, and Twitch channel. Tomorrow, I'll be playing more of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I was actually able to beat the King Zai Phoenix Bird that I was having trouble with right after the stream. So I got that done and a few other things done before I actually finally went to bed. So we're going to pick up with more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth tomorrow, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be playing Stellar Blade, the full version of the game. And that'll be, sorry, on the YouTube and Rumble channels. And then, of course, Saturday, I will be back with the non of Chin.
and I'll be back with the Centauri. Yes.
Yes, we will, of course, be talking more Babylon 5. Looking forward to that, too, especially for Season 5. But right now, folks, you're all invited to join us over on Rumble. I posted the link onto the chat, so please, come on. Follow us over, because we are leaving now.